Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. We have a whole pile of cricketers in this room, and we're going to start off. We're going to start off with a little surprise video for the guys, which we managed to get from all the way from Brisbane. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mr. Kepler Wessels, coming on all the way from Brisbane, I believe. Kepler, is that where you are at the moment?
Yes, it is. We've been back in Brisbane for the last 5 years or so. So I've been working for Cricket Australia, doing some match refereeing, and we've got a boxing fitness business. So yeah, it's going well. Going well, thanks.
A boxing fitness business. You always been into that?
Yeah, we still keep trying to punch on with where we can, but it's getting more difficult as we get older.
Oh, fantastic! But Kepler, we obviously got you on quickly so we could have a chat about the cricket. We've got all your teammates, your ex-teammates here in the studio, a whole bunch of them, and I just wanted to find out. I mean, you, just before that EP Cricket team, you came back for that pretty much for that team. At the time, can you just explain what was going through your head at the time? You were doing the Windies. You just come off a Windies tour.
Yeah, it was a very busy time in Australian cricket. I'd been having quite a good time, in fact, with the bat, etc., playing against the West Indians. And then my last tour was an Ashes tour in England, and then played a test match against New Zealand. But it was sort of getting time towards looking beyond cricket as well. And you know, I was looking for a career to try and combine that with cricket. And then an opportunity came up in Port Elizabeth. And I took the opportunity to join Eastern Province and the University of Port Elizabeth, and that's sort of how it came about. Yeah, look, what I did was, and I came in, I guess, super aggressive, super hard. Try to establish a really strong discipline. A lot of players bought into that. Some other players didn't buy into that, and then they moved on. But I guess that needed to happen. It wasn't popular in all quarters, as we know, but you know, it worked. And once it worked, and the team was successful, they bought into it. And the younger players who came through, and there were a number of them who came through and did exceptionally well. So they bought into that and were successful.
There we go. Kepler Wessels doing a little bit of an intro for you guys. Great to see you. Now we're going to bring in the other camera as well, because we've got two cameras here tonight. We've got the couch, which we'll dub the peanut gallery for now, for the guys. But we've got, I mean, there's 8 of us, 80 guys in here tonight. Starting with Flum, I think maybe Fires is kind of is semi co-hosting tonight for his first co-hosting session, and he certainly had the gusto to get the guys together tonight. So maybe you should introduce everybody. I think
I was actually trying to work out versus 30 years ago, 35 years ago. I think he was probably 84 kilograms. I was 72, and I think I was 90.
I was probably 120.
And I remember you got
before Kepler arrived.
I remember you got that invite once from Tristy inviting you to lose X amount of weight, X amount of kilograms, which I think you did, in fact. I think you cut down from 28 beers.
It's a long time ago.
Did you stop eating bread? There you go. Yes.
No, you know, I think what's interesting is, and I think the reason why Flum Kellers and I are sitting here, and I know Tim was part of it as well, as was Wolfie. I think Mark and Meyrick were still at school. But if I may say, I think we knew what it was like prior to Kepler's arrival, and especially in the early days.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I mentioned it when I was on your show. I mean, even cricket, with respect, was a bit of a disaster by comparison. And like Kepler said, he came in hard, he came in aggressive, and those were things that we never had.
Yeah.
And probably the main reason why we never won anything.
I can say my very first game, you know, I just come out of school, I made the Natal side, and the game was against Eastern Province. So we most probably flew Eastern Province. And we flew in maybe with the game flew like Friday, Saturday, Monday. So we flew in on the Thursday, booked into the hotel quickly, went for quick practice. You know, it was like, just let's get this practice over with. The chaps were just clopping them all over the place. Now this is with Darryl Bessel and Titch Smith and Vince van der Bijl and Kenny Cooper and that crowd. But the aim was to get back to the hotel, get dressed, and get off to the red line.
Red line.
So the night before the game, we spent like 4 or 5 hours at the red line. You know? And this was my introduction.
Did you survive it?
Well, you know, I was like an observer. I mean, this was kind of my introduction to big cricket.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good introduction. You know?
Yeah.
This was the way to go. You
But
know?
it's a
Follow
cultural
the way,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing. So the rules of belonging is that what you kind of have to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
really like, oh, okay, if I want to belong, I've got to do this.
Yes, yes,
Take
yes.
it up and things like
Well,
this.
it's right.
There was no leadership.
It reminds me of a team talk that Jeff Cook gave at Newlands one night in about 1980, where he gave his talk, and then the late Tom Dean had something to say, and then it went around to the floor. This guy had something to say, the next guy got to Bezzy, and Bezzy said, Oaks, can you please hurry up? Joe Parker's starting in 10 minutes. I mean, that explains what we are.
Yeah.
But also, if I may just say, you know, a great guy, I mean, probably the most successful opening pair that EP ever had, and I think we all miss him dearly, is old Philly Am.
Oh, yes.
We should actually drink a little toast to Philly. What a wonderful local, right?
Yes.
So what we used to do, I mean, we've spoken about the money situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think in those days we used to get 37 rand for meals allowance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that
like
was your meal allowance.
S&T kind of.
Yeah, yeah. And if you, the problem was 37 rand would get you a carvery downstairs in the hotel, okay, and a cool drink. I don't think you could even get a beer for that amount. Okay, all right. So we worked out that Flammy could down a beer in a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pint.
a whole pint.
No.
Yeah. So what
Not
we
anymore,
decided. So what we
Maybe
dec-
I must tell the story.
yeah, but anyway, carry on, Kevin. So we then, I think the first time we did it was in Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
Okay, and we went to the Grand Hotel in Bloemfontein. And we were all lining up there, and next minute Rod worked out that what he could do is have a down competition with
Yeah.
the whole pub.
Okay.
Okay? And everybody had to put 10 rand on the counter.
Yeah.
Okay? And you can imagine all those guys there with their
Yeah.
long socks and their big boots.
Oh,
and
sorry.
they come,
Put it
hier kom hulle, you
in
know,
drank.
sort of thing. And Flam and Rod had them all lined up. Like this. There must have been about 20 of them all lined up.
I didn't drink against all 20.
No.
Yeah.
And we stood there, and Rod would go puppet or whatever it would
Yes.
go, and they would all, and Flum would finish, and the other would still. and then he'd take all the money, put it in his head, and then we'd buy around the drinks. Flummy would go to the bathroom, get rid of it, come back, sit there a little bit longer. And about half an hour later, guys, another challenge. And everyone would come up, they'd all line up, another 200 rand.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
They're talking about contracts, and I also had a contract.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I made more money out of my drinking than I did out of my contract. I was a student. Right, so now what happened was, Rod, in those days they just come back from they just finished the rebel tours, so obviously a lot of money and
Yes.
whatever they'd earned. And Rod would put down on a bar stool. He'd say, okay, yes, let's say 500 rand or 100 rand or whatever. And then he refused for me to down unless there was 100 rand or whatever it was that he put down, because he was, as he says, he was the banker.
Thank you.
All right.
And then-
Okay.
So that's where it started, and then eventually it became my source of income because I'm a student. And then every beer I'm having, it's a free drink.
Professional
It's a
drinker.
free drink, and I'm getting half the winnings. And Rod's taking the risk.
So Rod was also, he's like an agent.
No, he was an agent. He just take, if there was 100, he'd take 50. I'd put 50 in my sky, and then we just off to the next one. And it got so bad that even when we landed in Port Elizabeth, we had to go to the what's that club?
Victoria Park.
Victoria Park, where all the Oaks, and then I had to go there and have another couple of
Quick
drinks.
one on the
Because
way.
the club needed some more money, and I needed some more money.
I think the most important thing is we all knew our role in the side. That's one thing that Kepler
Yeah.
did. This is what your role in the
job.
job is in the team is, and you do that. You know, and
Support
obviously-
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
So we all
you
had
need.
our roles and what we needed to do, and you were allowed to do that within the perimeters of what Kepler expected of you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And obviously Trusty and the coaches afterwards. you know.
Yes.
So that was the secret there, and we all respected each other from where we came from. We were all mates, and I think most important thing, as we spoke early on, a lot of the guys, Rushy, Tim, Wolfie, Flummy, I was there for 6 months or 3 months varsity. A lot of guys who played varsity together, you know,
Yeah.
they were there for a while, you know. So we were all friends, you know what I mean. So and Fires, I mean, I remember after practice, Fires taking us to the wall here.
Geez, we're going to
Okay, we used to go fishing.
Yes.
The whole team, we used to arrive at nets with our rods in the back, straight after practice.
Lauren came one night and Dot came.
Yeah, and we took them. They used to take us down to the harbour wall.
Yes.
And we used to bargain with the local security there with tickets for the night game. And then he used to let us through, and we used to go and we used to catch him. I mean, Meyrick, the one night, I think he is a record. He caught about 100 elf. I think.
Jeez, like, Meyrick?
So it wasn't quite 100. We were dodging the cops on the ocean at the same time, just all diving behind the dollars and trying to stay away from them. But we were obviously all.
We can tell that story now, Gary, because Rod brings it up in one of his, I think, intro to you, or in one of the intros.
Yeah.
What had happened was we'd all gone there, as Keller's rightly said, and Kepler, Rod and I were sitting about 30 meters up from Keller's, Pira and Meyrick, and they all had their piles of fish. And they were fishing on the drift, and Kepler, Rod and I were fishing on the bottom. So we had bait and a sinker, they had pilchards on the surface. And this argument broke out. To our left here, 20, 30 meters down, the three of them, arguing about, are you stealing fish from my pile? No! And then he said, geez, my piles also got smaller. But what was actually happening, there were dollars there. And there were rats this size. And they were coming out and we could see them clearly. We didn't say anything, we were just laughing. They were stealing the fish and pulling them into the dollars. And the three of them started arguing amongst one another. Pira and Keller's Pira and Meyrick. Thinking that he's trying to steal from them and whatever, but meanwhile the rats were stealing the fish.
It was always also about money and cash flow at the time as well.
Right, yeah.
This is now. We used to put him in the microwave. Just put a bit of aromat on. Take the guts out, aromat on, put in the microwave for 5 minutes and chow. That's your supper.
Yeah. For eating.
At the dreaded house of yours in 5 ways.
In 52 Cape Road.
I see,
Red Light District.
Gino, I see
Some comments as
Yeah,
well.
I see
Let's have a quick look at
one
some
person
comments.
here commented earlier on, where's Paul Raymond? Paul Raymond was sort of just before.
There's Pira there.
Where's he?
There's Paul
And I remember Piro the one time we finished fishing and then we went to they stayed in a house.
Excuse me.
You know where the 5-way spa is?
Yes.
There used to be a house there.
Okay.
And Meyrick and these guys used to stay there.
Pira as well.
We
Pira
rented it
was
with
there.
3 palms there.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you wrecked it enough that they had to demolish for the spa.
And then I remember Piro, the one day he bought himself a brand new reel, like a really nice big reel with this big rod, and he wanted to test it out. But it was like 12:30 at night.
No, jeez, this is like 2-3 o'clock in the
In the
morning.
morning. Okay. I'm trying to be nice to his online. So he had this rod, okay, and he was now thinking he'd test it out before he uses it, you know. So he stood in the middle of Cape Road, okay, casted it down Cape Road like this, just with this big sinker on the end. And it went doof, doof, doof down Cape Road, and next minute a car came past.
Oh, crap.
And the sinker wound itself around the side mirror of the car, and it was going, and it was stripping his.
Caught the car.
So, but he's had a few beers now. So guess what he does? He puts his finger in his balls.
As if he's going to break them.
He didn't want to lose the line. Okay. Anyway, the next day, the university playing. And I actually got a feeling it was like Old Grey versus the university, and I'd already at Old Grey, and we pitched up to play against the university, and there's Pire sitting with this big bandage on his thumb here because he burned all the stick, you know, trying to stop the
Burnt
car.
thumb. Trying to stop the car.
We never used to win much, and as soon as we started winning, it just generated such.
And like you say, with any sport, I think it's a case that really does bring people together. You can say the same about music as well, but sport has got this. It's got such a pull. If you look at the amount of people that come to a sports game, you know, at the rugby and the cricket, it really does bring a community together. You know, so you guys, although you were focusing on the cricket a lot, you know, you didn't think that the community needs it. They need that, you know.
I can't remember when it was, but I remember what Tim was saying now. I think it was Johnny Clegg or one of those bands. They actually played within the Delta General Motors or whatever,
Factory.
in that factory. Yeah, they
Yeah.
played in the factory, And they invited the whole EP side, who was ever playing in the, I don't know if you guys remember it. And we all went out and we had to hand out tickets for the next game and sign autographs and bats and that type of thing. And I've never forgotten the noise when we walked up onto that stage.
Really?
Yeah. It was unbelievable. I mean, the support that we had in those days for, because we were winning and we were doing so much for the community,
Yeah.
And also, there was no international sport then, so everyone was robbed of that. So it was a big thing. Provincial cricket and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
And it happened at a time when Ford had just closed,
Yeah.
or the resurgence of EP cricket.
Yeah.
I can remember seeing that one banner on the Settlers Bridge over the Swartkops River, with the last man out, please release the dolphins. That's how bad people got. And I think one of you touched on the impact it has on the community.
Yeah, definitely. And at that time, that's Kepler came in as well. Was that time with Kenny? Were you in there as well? Was that when was your era there?
Well, I came back when Kepler's, I think he'd been here a year, I think.
Okay.
And then
You came back and played?
3 years, yeah.
Okay, and you played an extra two with that. He seems like a quiet chap.
Ken.
It is.
When he gets in a role, he plays himself
Got some
into
red
it.
wine in.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
No,
I've
you-
got a bit of red wine if you
Typical
like.
batsman, he takes a while to play himself in.
That's
No,
not
no,
approved.
Actually, look, Kepler always thought there was nothing. Kenny couldn't do anything wrong. I want to tell you the story, but Kenny was, he'd have the odd Hansa. There's a Hansa. And then he would suck on the odd Hansa, but the rest of the guys were there.
I only worked up a sweat here.
And especially after batting, if we batted,
Yeah.
and he would have got 100 or whatever it might have been, and then we fielded the next day, then Kenny would love to have one or two Hansas, and I think we were playing border. And I don't know if it was a pre-season or a friendly or something like that. And
Kenny likes to think it's a friend.
it's a friendly. We'd obviously scored runs, and it was a flat track.
And don't forget the wind.
And the wind and pumping and scored runs. So that evening went out for one or two Hansas. Pilsners, as Pops calls them. And anyway, he had obviously not too often, but that night he definitely had one or two too many because he knew we were fielding the next day. And, it's it's all right.
Fielding it's all right.
Batting is different. Yeah. But anyway, the next morning, Pops at breakfast says to Kepler, he says, "Listen." What you say I ate last night, And of course, if that was me, Kenny would have said, "What time do you get in?" But anyway, he believed. He said, "Kenny, you just stay in the room. Don't worry, the 12th you can feel for." And he tells the story every hour or so. He was just listening on the radio, watching TV, and he just look out the window and see, the wind's pumping at like 50 k's an hour, at border 100 without loss. And he just closed the window and he'd lie. And I don't know, if to this day thinks Kenny had a stomach bug, but he had too many answers.
It was a fish.
But definitely,
Holiday in fish.
one or two too many
But
answers.
it was a friendly, pre-season.
Yeah.
But in those days, Radio Algoa, there was no TV coverage on that, obviously, but there's a guy, Percy Owen, in East London, an old legend.
Yes.
And every hour, there was a news bulletin and an update on the cricket.
Okay.
And Percy Owen reporting from, it was Buffalo Park.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm feeling a little stronger, maybe I should go and
Feeling guilty.
So, but as Flum says, order 100 for naught, and then I'd close it. The trees were at that angle. And an hour later, but order 200 for one. Close it. Eventually, order got about 400 or whatever. So the curtains, they kept like opening and closing.
Every 100.
Now, just to fill Kenny in here, we spoke about the EP era before Kepler out. And I mean, you were there long before all of us. And I think Tim raised the point, or somebody raised the point about all the great players that went through or played there in the 70s and they couldn't win a trophy. You know, and
Yeah, well, we did have a fantastic team. I mean, Graham, Chris Wilkins,
Peter,
Peter wasn't playing, Laurie Wilmot, Simon the same note, Etienne Schmidt, his name was there,
yeah, okay, that's
Gavin
very
Carley, yeah, you name it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say, you know, it was interesting, you know, that sort of era.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose similar to the 80s and that too. Most people had a job, so you know we didn't practice a lot. You'd knock off, well, guys would knock off at 5 and come to nets, and 7 o'clock it's dark. So
Yeah.
and you know to go on a tour, guys had to take leave because they're holiday.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and I'll never forget my first game for EP was a trip to Joburg and Bulawayo. We used to do like over 2 weekends. So it was a 2-week trip.
Okay.
And you know, guys had to take leave for that.
Did you fly up, obviously?
Yeah. I mean, prior to me, they went by train. But so,
Pops, you are old, boy.
it wasn't long.
You don't go by
Oxwagon.
A little bit before my time. But you know, and you know, look at. I mean, I'm not. I'm just sort of tongue in cheek. But if you looked at a team photograph in those days, there were 12 guys and one man and a manager. Today you see all the physios and everything else. So this one manager was everything.
Yeah.
He kept the money, the
physio.
scorecard, the medical bag, and the air tickets. He did the whole work.
Drinks organizer.
Yeah. And he was good at that.
That's what made it popular.
This was a more relaxed, definitely.
Well, it was very competitive.
Yeah. Okay.
And it wasn't, there was a bit of lack of discipline
Yeah.
at some times, yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, there were some fantastic players in those days. And, sadly, we won a couple of the one-day competitions, but it was only when Kepler came and chased people around the ground.
Yes.
I've never ever broken a bone or pulled a muscle in my whole career until I met Wolfie.
You did it all at once.
Yeah.
So you didn't get away with anything, like you didn't only run up Ricky's once when the others were running up 3 times.
No, I think I only did it once.
He was a bit older than us, so he did probably get away with a bit.
I was actually farming at the time in Storms River, so I used to drive in to get chased up Brickmaker's Cliff. And then drive home again.
To go and milk the cows in the house.
There's a comment here, sir. I'll never forget the day the ball slipped through Meyrick Pringle's helmet. Meyrick? You can remember that?
Yeah, it was the test match against India.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, test match in India.
What happened to the ball?
You always say
Yeah, it was a test match. Jabba Gosfina had bounced with the ball before. I hooked him for 4. I could hook them. I mean, I could. You wouldn't know, none of you would believe that, but I could hook.
See, we pitched it up to
I
you.
just-
We're all mates there. We pitched it up to each other.
Well, we used to do that in those days. We had contracts and you couldn't do it anymore. And I just missed it. Straight through. I couldn't bat to the visor. It was
Okay.
too closed up. It just put me
Yeah.
off. So it was very wide open and went straight in. So, yeah, it put me down on the floor. But, yeah, I thought I was cut above the eye, which I was, but the skin was hanging over my eye. So I kept pushing it out because I couldn't see through the eye. And then that's when I fell down and
Something's wrong.
and I woke up 2 days later in the hospital. And I had laser treatment. So that's why I couldn't see the pupils that shifted apart from each other. I don't know what it is. To laser them back together again. That's the reason I couldn't see through it. So
Could end up with a Mark Boucher situation there.
yeah, no, lucky.
Tell me now, are we out of the pre-Kepler era?
Yes, we are now getting into the Kepler era, but I think maybe we should put that. Hang on, we've got a message from Kepler earlier on, which you missed, Kenny, but we've got another one for you. Let's check the end, the last little bit that he was talking about. On-field highlights, anything that you could think of that you remember with fondly?
Well, I think if we're looking at a team concept, I think the first time we won the Currie Cup against Transvaal in that 5-day game during the centenary celebrations was an awesome period for Eastern Province, and then later on going on to win the treble. I mean, that's something that I didn't think was possible, but it became possible. We came through a couple of cliffhangers. I mean, the final of that Benson Hedges game in Durban was still, went down right to the end, and we managed to get there. So those probably from a team perspective point of view were the highlights. I mean, there were a lot of bad highlights individually, but from a team point of view, those were the highlights.
And I mean, the specific players, your thoughts on the emergence of the younger players? Like, I mean, we're talking about, we've got a couple of them with here. We've got Mark Rushmere here. Philip Am was one of them. I think Callis, definitely. Meyrick Pringle.
Yeah, there were lots of them. Look, Mark Rushmere, Philip Am, David Callaghan were really good in terms of from a batting point of view, and David Callaghan got some useful wickets as well. They all went on later on to achieve really good things. Meyrick started his career with us and did well, but found it difficult to find a permanent spot in the team. He then made a good move, went to Cape Town, and it all sort of kicked off for him. So we had Tim Shaw who bowled his left arm spinners very successfully, and later on, we had Kenny Watson initially. We had Fires there who bowled the new ball and who bowled their seamers, etc. And later on, we got Greg Thomas, we got Rod McCurdy, we got John Maguire, Eldin Baptiste, all players who were really good signings and who contributed to us winning a lot of games.
Because my memory is not that good, but Swinger got injured. He was the keeper, and I didn't make the initial
touch rugby.
Yeah, and then I had to keep and play. And the first game was ran out. They had the helicopter on the field.
That's right, that game,
And then we won the final.
Lungi got thrown up.
No, that was a year later.
Was it?
Yeah, later. But anyway, we won the final. And obviously, as we discussed earlier, the more you won, the bigger was your little paycheck. And came back and Swinger let me know that he thinks I must pay him. Basically, because if it wasn't for him getting injured, I wouldn't have played.
Anyway, this particular game, we had tried to play it for a while. I think we tried 3 times, and every time we got there it was raining, and eventually we played it, as Flummy rightly said, the helicopter on the field in the morning. And Kenny Mac and Callis got 92 and 90 odd. Yeah. And we won the game. I think they put in about 180. Yeah. Do you remember now? The game. Now after the game, it's the first trophy we won. I mean, the Oaks want to celebrate. We can spend the last 6 months running up and down Brickmakers Cliff. And
deserved to have a point.
I remember I had the keys to the one bus, and I was told no going out tonight, early night, because on the Tuesday night we were playing Transvaal. And I thought, bullshit. And I don't know how the word had got around, but a guy called Dennis East.
Yes, Dennis East, the singer, he's been on the show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was playing in Joburg that evening, and off we went. And the only guys, and funny enough, I told the story to a guy a few years later, and he said, well, who didn't go? So I said, Kepler, Tim, and Swinger. And he said, that's why they became Springboks. That was his comment at that time. Callis, I don't think, and Rushy hadn't, when I told the story, hadn't become Springboks yet. But off we went. And anyway, this is disobeying Kepler's instruction. Yeah. Now, Meyrick, this could be an urban legend, but as I understand the story, and Wolfie can hopefully help me out here, he missed the bus coming back from the Dennis East show at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think he had met a mate of his, and as the story goes, as Kepler walked out, he was flying back to P because Rebecca was being born. and swing doors at the Burgers Park. As he went out, you swung in. And he said, "Where have you been?" And he said, "I've been for a run." And I can remember this as if it were yesterday, indelibly. Wolfie coming to me at breakfast the next morning, not feeling too great. Got home at say 1 o'clock. Yeah. So I've got bad news for you. We're going straight to the Wanderers in Joburg. We're not going to the hotel. We were playing on the Tuesday night. Yeah. And we got to run up and down the Wanderers at 11 o'clock in the morning. Do you remember? And what I have a vivid recollection of was the man on my right here and Philly Ann. Yeah. At the bottom of the stairs, they're getting at the with the big bomb.
The things that you enjoy.
I want to hear these Essex stories. Those I used to sit there and
Some of the
listen
great
to the
moments.
music.
There must have been so many.
When Doc came to pick you up once, when Doc picked you up and you'd gone out, you bedded 3 times in one day or something?
Yeah. I mean, she might be listening. But my wife, she was my girlfriend, and she flew over. She was at UCT, and it was her holidays, but she'd worked in a steakhouse to save up money to buy a ticket to come visit me.
Come watch your hero.
Yeah. So she arrived. We were playing at Leicester, and I think we were batting second, and the other team had made quite a lot of runs. And the morning she arrived, our openers went out, and I was in within an over and out within an over for naught. And we were bowled out for 52, and we had to follow on before lunch. And I got in before lunch, and I was batting number 3. And I got naught again. I got 2 pairs before lunch. 2 noughts before lunch. I saved all that money to come and watch that.
But she got to spend more time actually with you then.
This is the reason.
You pulled out.
Yeah.
And I got a call from Clive Rice, would I like to play? So off we went.
Yes.
And people like Gary Kirsten and Fanny de Villiers and anyway, Rassi was the manager. So we always landed, and then we flew out early and left the wives in London, and we got there. We basically checked into a hotel and straight to a street party. And jeepers, we got these things dark and stormy, and it was like cool drink to me. I've got quite a sweet tooth, and I started drinking these things, but a bit too quickly.
Okay.
And suddenly it hit me hard. And I couldn't even stand. And I snuck off. But I was battling to walk. That's how badly I was really drunk. And I remember the buses. They said the bus were leaving at like 11, 12, 1. This was about 11 o'clock. So off I went, and I literally, I think I vomited somewhere first onto the bus, and I ended up being the only oak on the bus. And I looked next door, and there were a whole lot of people on the next door bus. I thought, oh shit, I better get onto that bus. So I did. And I didn't know, but the England players were all in that bus. Guys like Alan Wells, and I think Robin Smith was there. All these guys, and I knew quite a lot of them. Because I played at Sussex with, I remember Alan Wells particularly. And I sat in the front of the bus. And now Bermuda, going back, it's very windy. Okay. And suddenly I realized I'm going to puke. So I puked all over the bus, but I did it like quietly. And I thought no one saw me, but they all could see exactly what was going on.
In the bus?
And in the bus. And when I got back to the hotel, I quickly got out that bus and gone. And I thought I got away with it. But geez, the word got out quickly. And it wasn't a great night. And Pagey's never forgotten. He brings it up all the time. He's told my sons about it. And but it was a great memory anyway.
And we won it. We won that tournament.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
Remember I said Rassi took it seriously.
Rassi was the coach.
Stephen Jack, remember he opened the batting?
Yeah.
Stephen Jack?
Yeah, he opened the batting for us,
No, he smashed it. Him and Kersey opened the batting together.
Ask Kenny about the screamer at Sunnyside Hotel in Joburg. I was sharing a room with Connie and Ken.
That's
Next door. At least that's what we thought.
That's my wife who died. No,
She wasn't screaming.
No, it was them. The two of them.
The two of them were screaming.
And we, I mean, yeah. It was in a rebel test. I don't know if they were snoring or what.
Snoring. They have someone in the room with them. You know, we don't go there. Any kids play serious cricket?
Russian, yours, your kids play good cricket.
No, Russians.
Yeah,
Yes, they
Still too young.
they played.
How many of you got kids here? I don't even know who's got kids here, who hasn't.
Lots of kids.
They spread the cricket gene far and wide, but it hasn't taken yet. Fernando says, ask Dave when we can.
When we were in the army
we're in the
together.
army together in one room. Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Can you hear the drums, Fernando?
Fernando, can you hear the drums, Fernando? Did you sing ABBA songs
That's
together?
not I haven't heard for a long time.
Do you remember him?
Fernando.
When I went to the army, I was late for the army.
You were in the room together, was he?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Was he?
Fernando's been known to kiss a couple of men here and there.
I was late.
He was a very naughty, he was very naughty, Mike, in the army. He's telling you, Mike, he was very naughty in the army.
Thank you, Fernando.
Fernando, that's fine.
He was very naughty outside the army as well.
Any other comments before we Ian, your guests? What, your guests collectively scored 52,291 first class runs. And
I wish Pop scored
yes,
half.
well done, guys. That's your total. That's your total. Ian Mitchell's on his
He's a good cricketer himself.
Yeah.
There's a great story attached to Ian Mitchell.
Yes.
When he made his debut for Border,
Yes.
he walked out, they were playing Pakistan,
Yeah.
and he walked out to join Lefty and Geki, I think. I think it was, and Mitch had just come out of school, he was a Queenian.
Okay.
And Lefty and Geki met him, and Mitch said to him, what's going on here? And he pointed to that end where Wacker Yunus was bowling from. He said, that one was Lefty and Geki. He said, he's swinging it like this.
Yeah.
He pointed to the other end where Shoaib was bowling from. He said, that one, I can't see.
You got plenty. There's no
Lots of
rules on
papers.
it. No, you've got a book.
Two.
What's it called?
Well, the first is Leading Self and Others.
Yeah.
And, when you get to the end of your career, you start asking questions, start thinking about what next. And I remember actually sitting next to Kepler in the change room once. And he said, what can you do, mate, when you finish? I said, no, I'm out of here. I don't think I'm going to get involved. He said, me as well. So anyway, I carried on. So I just took that path because I just wanted something different.
Yeah.
And one of the first books I read was the hardest job in the world is actually working on yourself.
Yeah.
I thought, good grief, this is going to be tough. And it's still the same. It's still the hardest job in the world, I believe.
Yeah.
And just through a whole process, I actually wrote that book and I used it as a business tool with teams and that. And this last one, I started doing some park runs.
Okay.
Because I wondered what all the fuss was about. These guys are running, and I
Great fun.
started just watching them run past. And good grief, what's it all about? I don't really want to run, but I said, let me just try it. And then I got hooked up in the spirit of the whole thing, because people's lives were being changed, and I saw my competitive nature coming out.
Yes,
So I just wanted to enjoy this. Now I'm chasing my time. And I was like, what's going on? This is ridiculous, man. I want to enjoy myself.
The PBs.
And so the whole lot of questions sort of came to my mind when I started running. This guy overtakes me now. The next time this person overtakes me. This person stops to speak to me. This person doesn't know me. And all those questions came to mind. So I thought, hey, here's a book on teams. I can actually put something together and relate some of my sporting thing in that book as well. So just help people in the office, like, hey, what's teamwork all about? Go and ask yourself questions. Go for a park run. It costs you nothing.
Yeah.
And just see how you are and how your teaming ability is, because we live in teams. And we'd be nothing without a team. All of us, we didn't play the team.
Oh, there we go.
We'd be,
teaming with ideas.
Well, Jill Roberts actually gave me that. Teaming with ideas.
Okay, so if you work with some people and put it together.
Well, Kelly's has read the book, so if you want to know the highlights and things, you should probably tell you more.
Where can people, if they're watching, where can they get it from? If they
probably my website, or probably the website is the best. timshaw.co.za.
Okay.
And the batting for Province for
Oh, Peter Martin, here we go, opening batsman for Province as well. A brilliant chat, guys. Regards to you all. There we go. Ian Mitchell saying Fires is the legend that always. There's always putting great events together. Absolutely. It's Fires has still got a fire in his.
Tell Mitch, I didn't put it together. Gary Hemmings and you put it together.
No,
we just rocked up here.
You know, Fires has got, it's full of energy. He's still got always what it takes here. This is so important. Thank you so much. Paul Raymond saying, Kenny, regards. Thanks for your cousin, Miss Scott from Darkestan. Oh, there we go. Mr. Scott from Darkestan.
Ian Mitchell made a shitload of runs at school and then left school, got in the SA school side and apparently made 5 ducks in a row. They called him Audi.
All the rings. Yes, that's great. Johan Cup saying, how's it? Flum, you got to tour to India.
Went to the barman.
Here we go. Dennis Karanges. The Greeks are in the house. So they don't make them like this anymore. Thanks, man. Thanks, Dennis. Garth Webster, there we go. There's Garth Webster. Salubrious show. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin. Been a brilliant show, super entertaining. Thank you, Kevin. It's been fantastic. Lizette House has got a show. Thank you, Lizette. Thanks for joining us as well. See Lloyd Hobson saying, Curtis, are you still playing? You're still playing. Okay, just get him in there.
Is that Larry's Lucky?
Yeah.
Is it? Andrew Patterson.
Right.
Thank you,
Daddy.
There we go. Michael Clement so thank you, Michael. And Brian Wilkinson, one of our regulars as well. Rory Norton saying, how's it too? Fantastic show. Thank you very much, Rory. And Fernando, I see there. Rob Taylor too. He's on the radio. Rob's on the radio. Brendan Kelly, thanks. Brendan, let me know when you're off again, so I can go and visit Michelle.
Cheers, Fernando.
Bob.
Fire such a star. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. But thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this.